Okay, everyone, we're back here for the next step of the finals. It's on 11 and 12, and I'm going to get my guest commentators in here, Kevin and Mark, and they'll finish us off.
All right, Mark, we are back. Spotlight on sports and events. I am Kevin Donovan. I'm sitting here with Mark Walters. I am sharing the event page to my Facebook page as we speak. Again, Kevin Donovan. I'll be posted right on my Facebook page. We are in the Final Four. This will be the live link for the remainder of the tournament. Mark, who do we have left?
We have Paul, Brian, and Doug Mosier, the only left-hander, on 5 and 6. And on 11 and 12, we have J.R. Fleming and Howie Ayers. So they all should be good matches.
Yes, right now our featured match is Howie Ayers and J.R. Fleming. We can get to Paul Bryan and Doug Mosier later,
Yeah.
yes, if needed. 7 and 8 will be the title match, be right in front of us.
Is this a two-game match also?
Yes, it is. 2 games, total pinfall. And that is not how you want to start a match for Howie Ayers.
No,
Great
Stone
shot.
Just for you folks out there, Doug Mosier had to throw the last 3 in the 10th, well, the first 2 in the 10th, in order to win his match. I think he won by 9. But he came through in the clutch. He struck out in the 10th, shot 257, whipping the 7th.
Wow.
He needed 248 to win, so.
He threw all 3. That is clutch
All
shot
3 at a
making,
time.
and a lot of that experience.
And they were all good. Yep.
That experience definitely plays a factor. That's great for him. It's been a fun day today, and I think this is when the best stuff is going to happen right here. Final Four, we got 4 really great bowlers. Howie's won, like I said, a few tournaments around here. He's won down at Rossi. He's won 2 TBI tournaments. He just got his card. He's trying his hand at the regional level. Howie's got a ton of experience. JR, when they're soft, especially, and he can play those straight angles with that big hand. He's gonna be brutal to beat. We got one lefty, and we got the infamous Paul Bryan. So we've got a very diverse field, a strong field, and it's gonna be some fun.
Then you got Doug One Ball Mosier too. That never count Doug out.
That's true. You
Very
can't
good
rule
player.
Dougie Fresh out.
Look out.
That is a rare miss spare for Howie.
Yeah, we had that discussion too. Every time we talk about miss spares, somebody misses one. He's a really good spare.
Yes, no, Howie's a fantastic spare shooter.
Brings
Doug
up
Mosier wrapped it.
Mosier. Yeah, a touch high 4 pin.
Camera just a smidge so we can see the back half of the scores when it gets to that point. Oops, too much. Oh my goodness. There we go. JR with a good spare. 5 and 6 looks like it's hooking a little bit, Mark.
Yeah, I think it is. But Paul had that issue on the last pair. He was on 11 and 12. They really struggled early until they figured it out. He was throwing that covert revolt at the end to actually get him through to this match. I believe that's what he's got in his hand now.
Yes, that is a covert revolt. Good spare by Paul.
Fleming strikes on the left lane.
And Howie does not want to be down against JR this early.
No.
We're in
There hasn't been a double thrown, so he's only on a
Yes.
few right now.
So it's kind of a weird situation right
Down
now.
13.
Howie wants to make his best shot possible right here.
Well, he should have started with a double. He stoned that 8-pin
Yes.
ball on lane 12.
Very good shot by Howie. So keep in mind, too, 11 and 12 was the pair that Paul Bryan and Derek Lisi just got off.
Right.
So this pair's been fairly tricky. Paul bowled a great match on that pair.
Right.
And both players seem to have some issues, especially on the left-hand lane.
Yeah. The left lane seemed to give them trouble, but towards the end, it looks like they squared it up, whether they pushed them well back down lane or something to stop this all going snap hook. Let's see how he goes here.
This is a big shot. He's got to let JR know he's still around. Trip
Got
the
away
four
with it a little
pin.
high. Got away with it.
I can hear Ryan now. Howie.
Exactly. That's how they usually put it on there. Howie was 27 E's behind it.
It's too funny. Too funny.
Huge break there for Moser. That was a little wide and got away with it. He left the ring 7 the last time. That ball was a little thin and they all fell down. Lundgren catches a double. He's not going anywhere. He'll keep the ball in play.
No. He's going to be very, very, very tough.
5-pin match on 5 or 6 with Paul and Doug Moser.
Doug Moser.
There's a double.
Another good shot for Dougie Fresh.
Good player. Good player.
The lone lefty. The lone lefty.
Yep. Shot, Doug.
JR.
He liked it off his hand.
That power he creates. That's the thing. Don't be fooled, guys. JR's not wheeling the ball by any means. He's a lot of speed, a lot of hand, and very straight. That's what Mark and I keep talking about. Is he gets a urethane ball in his hand, man? Oh my goodness.
That could change. It could change in the finals, but he's going to go back. They're going to go back to fresh. So whatever he qualified with, he's probably going to start with.
So let's talk about this, Mark. If Moser advances to the title match, he's going to have to bowl a right-hander. Would you say that's an advantage to Moser?
Yep, I would. I think he's in an advantage right now. I don't know how many lefties they had in the tournament to start with, but whatever pair, you don't know if he caught a pair that always already had a lefty on it or not. And when I walked in, I know Adam Madigan bowled,
Yes.
and I don't know who else was left-handed to bowl. So Dougie's playing pretty much off the corner, not doing his typical shot.
Here comes Howie and JR. Oh my goodness.
Moser's up by 20.
Yep, Moser's got a 25-pin lead right now over Paul Bryan.
Both on Doug. Paul's are actually Moser's on a turkey.
Moser can put some heat on Paul right here.
Howie's not going either. Howie just threw a 4-bagger. JR's on 3.
That's really good mental, bowling is throwing a 4-bagger right after. There. How often do you see that messenger?
Wow.
Like, how does that happen?
Pretty impressive. Moser get another one. He's going to keep the hammer down to Paul. Paul's got to continue to throw strikes to only be out 25.
We got some fights here, man.
Yeah,
This is
we do.
great.
Yep. Oh, a little kiss there too for Paul.
It's a big shot for JR.
See, that Jackal hit it with his tail.
Man,
No prisoners here.
these guys are brutal.
JR's on 5 and Howie's on 4, and he's down 13 with ball in hand.
Mark, let me ask you this. What do you think the chances are with these two guys in particular, JR and Howie, that one of the players could shoot over 500 in their 2-game match and lose?
I think they both could.
Howie looked a little quick on that.
2-pin.
Pure motion. 7-10.
7-10, Doug. Was it 7-10, Doug? We'll back the tape up. Well, went a little thin on Howie lifts with just a toothpaste.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Howie's still got a good game on the board. You know, 35. That's no slouch. We got Derek walking around. Maybe I'll ask him if he wants to
Sure, have him
comment.
get in.
Yeah, he's walking back right now. I think he's coming back.
Kindly down into the front desk, please. Thank you.
Calling Derek up real quick. I want to get his thoughts on his last match. Derek, great bowling today, buddy.
Thank you.
So, Derek was the youngest person in the top 16 today. Just finishing high school, off to college next year. Derek, talk a little bit about not only your performance today, but what you saw on the lanes throughout the day.
I think all day I repeated shots really well, which I think was the key today. I tried to keep my break point around 10 to 12 and just kind of be soft with the hand to make sure the ball was going to come around the corner. And I think I executed well all day. I picked spares very well today, and the last match with Paul, the lanes 11 and 12 were a lot different than 23 and 24. The 23 and 24, there's a lot of hold and a ton of oil on the outside and inside, so I had to be really soft. And then with no practice jumping on 11 and 12, it took me a couple shots, and I saw a couple different things. And towards the end, I figured out that I just needed to go back to kind of what I was doing, but with a weaker ball and a little more speed. And then did that, and then ended up with a 245 the last game. And I thought I was really happy how I bowled, even though I came up short against Paul.
You had a great day today, and I think there's a lot you can take away from it. With talking with Mark, we talked a little bit about the experience piece. Obviously, this is one of our very few local tournaments that put out slightly tougher stuff than house. Not quite sport pattern, but you don't see like 45 feet, 6-to-1 ratios around here. So we talk about like the experience piece. Talk about how your experiences are going to benefit you going forward and performing at the college level.
Definitely going to be, for one, a big confidence booster, which I think is very important in bowling. To know that like I've scored well on some harder patterns against hard competitors is going to be good going forward. I think if I can compare like a pattern to this one or similar to like one that I might be bowling in college, I think that's going to help me to kind of know what to do and what not to do and
Agreed
make some
entirely.
trends.
Agreed entirely. The other thing we talked about is we talked about how Howie and JR are on the same exact pair you and Paul are on. So watching them and how they're scoring, we kind of attributed that to a little bit of the experience piece as well, because these guys have seen a lot of those things, and you're still, kind of in that younger stage, just getting out of high school, like we mentioned, and advancing into that college part. So, just tell everyone, what are your plans after this? What do you have going forward?
Going forward, I'm going to be going to Corning Community College for 2 years and bowling on the team there. And I'm going to stay youth, I believe, till probably, I think the limit is 19 or 20. So I'm only 18 right now, so I'm going to do that. And then hopefully after that, if I decide to pursue college bowling after that, or if I just want to pretty much finish my degree somewhere else and just do like local tournaments, like adult tournaments and stuff like that.
That's good. Paul and Benny will love to have you. Like I said, I've had 2 years there. They're both great guys. They pick up on the little things that it's always nice to see. So you're in great hands there, and I'm sure they're going to love to have you.
All right.
So great bowling today.
Hey,
Proud
thank you,
of
Kevin.
Very
I
nice
appreciate
job.
it. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Great bowling all day. So finishing up this Final Four match right now. That was Derek Lisi. He had a very solid performance today, leading the tournament, the 791, falling just short to Paul Bryan. Paul and Doug are in an absolute dogfight right now. It's Doug shot 227 and Paul shot 222. That is a tight match. Howie's making a ball change right now. Ball looked a little bit slower response. He's going to need a number to combat JR's insane amount of striking that JR has done today. Pretty crazy day. So we're starting up right now, JR with a strike. I think we're going to rotate here and maybe check this Paul and Doug Mosier match. We'll just keep an eye on JR and Howie, but for right now we're going to rotate a little bit. See what the situation is here. 5-pin match, we definitely want to see the close match. There we go. Oop, a little far. Alright, spare for Paul Bryan. And we have a new guest. Knocked out in the round of 8, but still a very good showing today. Ray Scrivens.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate the comments.
No, Ray had a very solid day. Ray's made some good shots. Won his first match and lost to who did you beat?
J.R.
Fleming. Yeah, J.R. Fleming. So talk a little bit about what you saw on the lanes today, Ray.
True qualifying with a 45-foot Dick Weber pattern, I was assuming I would play in a little further than what I had to play today.
Mm-hmm. To tell you the truth, I made that assumption.
And I started there, and you may or may not get a kick out of this, but Ryan Schaefer's bowling in Florida.
Yeah.
And he's on a 42-foot pattern in a regional yesterday.
Interesting.
And he made a comment. He goes, surprisingly, they played very nice out.
Interesting.
So about halfway through practice, I thought, make a shot out there and see what happens. And I wound up staying there for 3 games. And I shot 219 the first game with 1 pocket split and 1 bad shot in the split.
Right.
But qualified with 744. So the out played very nicely for me until about halfway through that first match against Alfar. I could see him starting to break down a little bit. I tried to move in just a little with the same ball and wound up changing balls, but I got fortunate. Al missed a couple spares the first game, and I was up 40, so I could play a little bit of safe.
Yes.
Kept that ball in my hand and made spares. The last ball in the 10th frame, then I was fine.
That swing gets a lot more loose when you know you've got that lead.
Yes.
That's a huge part of it. So what do you see from the remaining 4 players? We'll talk about briefly, like what do you expect going forward from the remaining 4?
Well, obviously J.R. Fleming's throwing it phenomenal. I'll say that after a while. Very good right now. I just sat down here after getting my equipment put away. Paulie Bryan obviously threw 300 the first round of match play. Doug Mosier, I think he's the only left-hander left.
Yes, that's correct.
But is always in the running. Doug is always good. So Howie is, a great player in his own right, but it looks like JR is kind of running him over a little bit right now. But JR has enough rub rate and enough speed. I think he can control the break point maybe a little easier than these other 2 or 3 players.
What we talked about is JR, because of his speed, because of his ball roll, because of his rev rate, he's able to miss left, get the ball to shim, miss right, and get the ball to recover.
Yes.
That's not easy to do.
Yes.
And he's able to do that because of those factors like we just talked about. JR's caught fire since.
He made 1 shot in that match against me early, I think, in the second game, and 210. Other than that, the ball made the corner almost every time he missed a little right. So, as you're saying, that's He has the raw rate to do that.
He is going to be a tough one to beat. There's no doubt about
Yep.
that.
Yep. And mentally, everybody has their own strategy or mental game, as you would.
Mhm.
He just tells himself he's not going to get beat. I mean, and his mental game is as good as anybody's, I think, right now.
Oh, I agree, and it shows. He's got a large lead today. He's got a. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't rule out Howie Ayers either.
Oh, absolutely.
Howie can very easily take this game sheet. So JR's got to be telling himself, look,
Yep.
I am not done. I've got to make some good shots.
Yep.
If he can get to the 8th frame, maybe 9th frame, and trying to experiment with some different looks.
That's kind of the philosophy I had
Absolutely.
against him when I missed the first 3 spares. And I made 3 ball changes there, which you mentioned loosen the swing up. It tightens up just as much when you're not comfortable. I missed the 6-10 twice. I took the 10 off once, and I took the 6 off once. But I felt if I could throw 270, who knows what's going to happen.
You never know.
You know,
You
so
really never know.
I started fairly good the second game in that match, but JR is really tough.
So a little bit of an update for the people watching. Paul, Brian, and Doug Mosier. Paul is down 5 pins from the first game. With that said, he's got a 59 in the third, spare in the fourth, and Mosier has a 57 in the third. And I'm assuming a spare, but you never know. Doug's a pretty good spare shooter, but
Oh yeah.
it can be done. So
Well,
it's basically a scratch match right now.
I think the people that that play this game or have played it long enough or wanting to get into it, youngsters especially, junior bowlers, I don't care how much you strike. If you can't make spares, you're not going to win.
Oh, and they're
I mean, it sounds silly sometimes when you can throw, 250, but you're not going to throw 250 every game. So
oh, you're absolutely
you
right.
have to make spares.
Got to shoot spares at some point. You just have to.
Especially on these little tougher patterns. House conditions one thing. These tougher pattern strikes don't come as easy.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And as you get higher up and you're
Yes.
bowling against better people,
Yep.
missing spares is just unacceptable.
Yeah,
Doesn't
absolutely.
matter how
Yep.
many. Howie
Yeah.
just avoided a split there in lane 11. But
If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, didn't I just bowl JR on that pair?
well,
Or was it 13 and 14?
13, 14. But
Okay.
we talked about what I talked about with Derek was Derek and Paul just came off that pair, and I think one of the big kickers is JR's ball speed didn't see that early hook,
Correct.
and that's it's a pretty big factor.
Yep. I bowled JR Thursday night league 2 weeks ago. We were in a finals. I had 4 finals with some brackets left,
Mm-hmm.
and I had 240 something, and he just comes up and says sorry. He breaks down 260. So
He's a monster in league. There's no question about that.
this week I was bowling on the same pair against JR and struggled for 204 the last game. JR goes up and writes his score down and comes back and gives me an awful look. And I says, what's that all about? He goes, you got even. I had 202 and had you in 4 brackets.
So obviously the camera's not on JR right now, but he just folded everything and struck again, and it's got to be one of those. It's when it's your day, right? I mean,
He made a comment. See, now he's talking about leaving an 8-pin.
Yep.
He made a comment to me over there, and I was picking on him a little bit. I said something about taking easy on an old man, and he just said it's because I love and respect you so much. And I go, wow, that's bullcrap. He goes, which one? And I go, take your choice. But
So
nice
back to this match down here.
Yes.
Paul left a pretty crucial open.
He hit
103.
7th frame, 6th frame.
Yeah, is it the 6th? I can't
Yeah.
see, the graphics are kind of up right now.
And there's the pocket 7-10 for JR on the other pair. After he said he was going to
After
leave an
JR
8-pin.
caught that break,
Yeah.
7-10. Give one to get one, I guess.
Well, yeah, sometimes how the game goes.
Mosier can put some heat on right here. It's a big shot. Takes the
And he
5 out.
carried it all.
That filthy lefty. I said before, and we did that Corning versus Hornell version of
Yes.
what the Ryder Cup would
Ryder
be.
Cup. Yep.
I'll tell you right now, Doug Mosier is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life.
Agreed.
Something ain't right. I don't know what the heck he's got going on up there, but
And
my
it was-
goodness, he had people from both teams laughing.
He's serious about his game. But he has a great time while he's doing it. That's I've said for a long time. You know, some people may agree, some people disagree. Bowling to me, and you and I have talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
is a family.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I don't care whether it's East Coast, West Coast, North, South, wherever you go. It's enjoyable for me at my age, 61 years old, that I could go to almost any state and walk into a bowling center on any given day when there's a tournament or something going on and see a friendly face. Whether I remember the name or not, something different, but at least you see somebody that you know.
You're absolutely right.
To me,
you know.
that's the game.
It's a great environment. It really is. It's a lot of fun. A little bit of an update how we missed a 7-pin. I think it's safe to say JR is advancing at this point.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
Paul just buried one. Paul's going to have to throw a 3-bagger at
Yeah, he
least.
is.
You know, one shot at a time. That's the key. You know, just take one frame at a time, one shot at a time.
Yep.
But this could put the heat back on Mosier.
Absolutely. 120, what is it? 126 to 1. I can't see that.
Yeah.
One over
Paul
120.
Doug Mosier can go off the sheet for 236. Paul can go off for 223.
Yeah.
But keep in mind too, Doug's got that 5-pin lead.
That's what I was going to ask. 5-10 lead. Boy, he threw that great.
I'm really impressed today with Paul's decision making. Obviously, like he's been around the feature pair, so we've kind of watched each of the matches. But
Right.
there's been a few matches where he's made giant moves, made a few different ball changes. He didn't have that ball out the first 2 matches.
Correct.
And now he's
Correct.
in a Venom recoil. He was throwing
Yep.
Covert Revolts and Golden Jackals and
Yep.
everything else.
Yep.
But
Oh,
Paul is really working hard.
He
Paul
is.
really
He is.
working hard today.
You know, and I don't noticeable. I made 3 different ball changes there with JR. Until I got the one that made the right shape. I think, you know, different players at different levels will go back to the junior bowling. Bowling layouts and knowledge. I told my son this a long time ago. You can know everything you want to know on this side of the foul line. You need to go in the pro shop and learn a little bit there as
No,
well.
you're absolutely right. The layouts and ball surfaces.
Yeah.
Those are 2 parts of the game that aren't always touched upon, and they should be.
Yeah.
They should be.
I've talked to Ryan, and I'd even invite you to do something similar.
Big shot from Mosier here.
And he
It's
stuffed
close.
it. Ryan and I have an upcoming date, if you will. I consider Ryan to be one of the premier shot makers in his 30 years on tour.
There's a reason why he's been bowling for a living for as long as he has.
And I would love to do a show, for lack of better words, right now on lane reading, how to read a lane.
Absolutely.
Everybody does it from left to right. The proper way is front to back.
Yes.
Would you agree?
No, absolutely. You don't look especially when the patterns get tougher. You don't look as to where the ball is hooking down lane, or you see the ball go left. That's correct, but the ball's actually reading earlier on the lane.
Correct.
And that's what the difference is, you know, we talk about getting the ball going forward. You don't really see right to left. Even the one program now, which kind of got me going in the right direction, I should say, is that Bowl U. I went to one of
Okay.
those clinics back in my junior year of college,
Mhm.
and you see the lane differently. You know, they talk about the triangle aspect. They talk about the proper way to release the ball, getting the ball off your hand and picking up a roll. There's so much different technology, and the way these patterns are developed, reading a lane front to back as opposed to left to right is wildly different.
Yes. Yes. This is a big shot for Paul
Yes,
here.
it is. I don't know if
Did
he
the 10
struck.
go?
Yeah, given by Paul's reaction, I don't
No,
think
the
so.
10 did not go.
So all Mosier needs is count, and
believe, yep.
we are going to have Doug Mosier against J.R. Fleming. I'm going to be right back. I need water.
Sounds like a winner to me. Well, I don't know if anybody has asked you folks, but if you're tuning in, tell friends, relatives, enemies, whatever you want to. There's a subscribe button down here on our YouTube channel. We would really appreciate it if you hit that. I hope you've enjoyed what we've done so far today. And this match is coming to a conclusion, as Kevin said. I think we're going to have J.R. Fleming against Doug Mosier. So while Kevin's gone, I think I'm going to take a break here as well. So stay tuned, and we will be back in a few.